Hey y'all, it's Jennifer. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am coming to you with a very exciting announcement video. It is that time of year again, and Ancientsathon is upon us. This is the second year of Ancientsathon, and it is a readathon that is hosted by Tori from Hufflepuff Discovery, David Wiley, and me. I will link to my co-hosts' channels down below. And this is a readathon that runs throughout the month of June. And the ultimate goal of this, and really the theme of the readathon, though it is called Ancientsathon, the ultimate goal is just to read works written prior to 1700. A lot of attention is paid to modern classics, Victorian classics, and even to classics of the 18th century, but particularly classics from the medieval period seem to fall by the wayside quite a bit. So this readathon was created essentially to pay some attention to works written prior to 1700. And so ultimately the goal is just to read one thing written before 1700. If you do that, you are participating in the readathon. But we, of course, also wanted to have some prompts available as that's a whole lot of fun. And of course, with these prompts, you can double up on them. That's exactly what I'm planning to do since I haven't been having the greatest reading year. So a lot of these prompts can work in conjunction with one another. One of our prompts is to read a play. I think this is a really excellent prompt and it's very, very flexible. You can read Shakespeare for this. You can read the ancient Greeks and Romans for this. This is one of my favorite prompts because I'm actually not someone who likes to pick up a play very often, though when I do, I tend to enjoy them. So I really like this prompt because it is going to make me pick up a play off of my TBR, but I think this is a really good flexible prompt that can go for any time period. Our next prompt is to read a work of nonfiction, and this is another of my favorites because once again, anything can go for this. This can be philosophy, this can be history, it could also be political. It could be The Prince by Machiavelli, it could be Suetonius's The 12 Caesars, it could be Plato. So this one is also really, really flexible. Another prompt is to read a work of poetry, which, as you might can guess, is my favorite prompt on this list. Poetry was really at its height to me prior to 1700. And there are so many wonderful examples of poetry, specifically epic poetry, that were written before 1700 that I just really utterly adore. So this is a really good opportunity to pick up something maybe like the Iliad or the Odyssey. It could also be an opportunity to look at something like Paradise Lost, Edmund Spenser. It could be very short poetry as well. It could be sonnets, such as by Shakespeare, but it could also be longer form poetry. Our next prompt is to read a work over 300 pages. And I know for me, I tend to steer clear of longer books, especially if they are classics, because I think there is an intimidation factor. And I think there's possibly an intimidation factor with just reading classics written prior to 1700 at all. But I think this prompt is a good one to make sure that you get something off of your TBR that might have been lingering there for a little while, that you were just intimidated by the size of. And for me, a lot of the ancient, medieval, Renaissance classics that I have on my TBR are over 300 pages. So I think this prompt will work really well for me, and I'm really excited about all of the possibilities for this one. Next is a work that it's time to stop thinking about and start reading. And so this can kind of be a TBR bet, but it can also just be a book that you have thought about very frequently, and you've always said, someday I'll read that. Someday I will get to that one. Maybe that's something like Don Quixote, or maybe again, it's something like Homer that you've always said you were going to read, but you never have before. So I really love this prompt. This is one that I'm also really excited about because there are so many options for me with this one. There are so many books that I've just thought about, that I've thought one day I will read that. One day I will take a chance on that. So I'm really excited about this prompt, and this is the one that I'm excited the most to see what people choose for their TBRs. Our last prompt is something religion or mythology based. And again, this is very, very flexible. This could be a religious text. It could be a text written by a religious philosopher. It could also be something Greek myth, Norse myth based, just anything that has to do with religion, because this is a very, of course, long swath of time, but it's also a swath of time in which religions were really growing and also dissipating, kind of falling away. Religion is a very interesting lens to look at this very long period of time through, in my opinion, because so many things changed and shifted over the years. And so this is one that I'm also really interested in, and I'm really excited to see what people put on their TBRs. Kind of as a bonus prompt, but just something that works in conjunction with the others, is to read through time a little bit and maybe hit one of the major 3 time periods that are included prior to 1700. So the ancient world, the medieval period, and let's say the Renaissance. And so you can kind of pick and choose from the other prompts and say maybe you want to read a nonfiction from the Roman Empire. So ancient world is covered. Your poetry, you would like to be from the Renaissance. And so this is just a good one to help you move throughout this really long period of time that is encompassed by Ancientsathon. And I'm really excited about this. I think last year I kind of structured my TBR in this way. And I think that's likely what I will also do this year to make sure that I kind of move not only throughout time, but move through some different countries. As was the case last year, we also have a group read. And so this year, the group read is The Book of the City of the Ladies by Christine de Pizan. And we really hope that you will join us in this. This is a really interesting text that I have never read before, and I'm pretty sure that Tori and David have also never read before. And so this is one that the 3 of us are really excited about. This was written in the 1400s, and it's a really interesting feminist text because it kind of took on the misogyny of the day head on, which I think is really interesting. And I think this one will lead to some very cool discussions. So we would love if you would join us for that. Again, the prompts and the group read, they're really just for fun. If you read one thing that was written prior to 1700, you are participating in Ancientsathon. And I really hope you do. I really hope that you join us this year. We had a lot of fun doing it last year, and we hope to do it for more years to come. I'm super excited about what this year's Ancientsathon has to bring. I'm excited to get my TBR together, which I will hopefully have out here in a couple of weeks. I will link to Tori and David's channels down below and to their announcement videos. But that's going to be all from me today. I hope you're all having a great week. Happy reading. Goodbye.